So welcome back, guys and gals. I have a little bit of a frog in my throat today. Just these allergies, I tell you. Whew, boy, they just get me. And because it's constantly draining in the back of my throat, and it just really has a little bit of an issue in my throat. But in any case, today, what am I talking about? Well, you know, when I woke up this morning, I was thinking, man, I hate these allergies. But no, other than that, what I was thinking is, you know, I've been pondering this for a while, or wondering this for a while, that speaking about the, sad American diet and carnivore diet and other things like that, I kind of wonder a lot of times when we, start a diet like carnivore diet or ketovore or keto, if somehow when we do these diets, and we're trying to get away from the standard American diet, of course, that we are so hooked or so brainwashed about the standard American diet that when we go to start a new diet, we carry over some of that ideas or philosophies or things that typically derail us in pursuing the carnivore diet or whatever diet that might be. It keeps us from succeeding at those diets. So, as you know, I'm a carnivore, and I have been doing the carnivore diet for the last 15 months, and I have had some issues here and there, but mostly it was derived from trying to go outside of the carnivore diet and trying to re-implement foods in my diet, because other people are like, well, Jerry, it ain't gonna hurt you to try this one thing or that one thing. You can't be so strict, and you hear that a lot in the carnivore diet community. Can't be that strict, Jerry. You give yourself a little grace. But I wonder sometimes when we have that philosophy and we want to add in other things because we want to try to emulate the standard American diet, whether that be keto ice cream, which I got addicted to, by the way, which led me down a rabbit hole that I did not want to go down. And then we have, now I've heard there's carnivore noodles. I mean, really? We've got that mindset that we want to still stick to the old ways, instead of accepting that we were never supposed to be eating noodles or stuff like that, And I know, and a lot of people say, well, carnivore noodles is, eggs or whatever, egg whites, I believe it is. But do we even need to go there? Why don't you just eat the eggs? Why do you got to do that? I know a lot of times people in the carnivore space get a little dogmatic, but I don't think that's necessarily bad. Dogmatic, of course, has a lot of negative connotations to it, but I don't really think it's really that bad. Now, I'm not saying you got to be completely strict, but I wonder if having a little bit of discipline is not so bad after all, and sticking to what works, and giving up the old ways of the standard American diet, where you can eat everything under the moon, and you're trying to find new and fancy ways to fix dinners, like carnivore lasagna, or what is the other ones? Carnivore pizza. I mean, just eat mostly protein. If you want a little bit of carbs, fine. Don't go overboard with it. But I don't even think eating carbs is really necessary, because I think it does more harm than good. And granted, you're like, well, Jerry, I eat some carbs and it don't cause me any issues. Well, the problem is, I think a lot of times as Americans, we tend to say, you know what, if it ain't hurting me right this minute, it must not be hurting me at all. But I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that a lot of times we might not feel the negative consequence of what we are doing right this moment. And let's admit it, we're moment creatures nowadays. Everything's got to be in the moment. And I don't think that we typically, I just don't think we typically think about the long-term effects that eating this stuff actually has on our bodies. Because, we'll say, well, Jerry, I ate some corn, it didn't really bother me. Or I ate, some sort of sugary snack where it didn't really bother me. And I only do that once a week, just as a little treat to myself or whatever. But is that really true? Did it not really affect you? Have you not noticed the effects? Maybe the effects didn't happen right away. Maybe the effects will happen a month or two later. Maybe you say, man, I just don't feel quite right. Maybe my sleep's been interrupted. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit lethargic than normal. Maybe we need to analyze what have you done differently that you weren't doing before. But we have such a short mindset, a lot of times, or short memory. We don't typically remember what we did 3 months ago. I know a lot of times I fall into that as well, where I just don't remember what happened 3 months ago. And so we get caught in that trap, and I think that when we constantly are trying to find new ways to fix our food so we can enjoy a variety, which I think, a lot of people love this variety word. Well, I gotta have variety in my life. Well, no, actually you don't have to. You want to. You don't really have to. You actually want to. And there ain't nothing really wrong necessarily with wanting to, but when it affects you in a negative way, I think you might want to re-examine whether or not that want is really necessary, because it really truly isn't. And so I know this is kind of just a rambling rant, but and I'm not saying that you have to be completely strict and this and that, because a lot of people say, well, when I'm so strict I wind up falling off the wagon. But you know what, I think a lot of people fall off the wagon because they're not strict enough on themselves, and they tend to wind up letting other people and letting society convince them. Probably over a decade ago, I got rid of cable TV because I got tired of all the junk on TV and all of the craziness on TV and the reality shows that really weren't reality. And I got rid of all that stuff, but mainly what I really enjoyed about getting rid of that stuff was the fact that I'm not inundated with commercials. Yeah. And, I work at a hotel and we have a TV on in the lobby, and every once in a while I'll walk by and I'll see that there's some sort of pizza commercial or some sort of food commercial on there, not to mention all kinds of other commercials like, prescription drug commercials, which, well, that's, for another video. I'll get into that rant later. But, I think that we constantly are getting brainwashed into thinking that we got to have variety and we got to have different spice in our life, right? When in actuality, we should just be eating to live rather than living to eat. And, our culture, especially in America, is all about, where the next meal is coming from, right? In the morning, afternoon, the wife or husband stays at home and contemplates, what we're going to have to eat that day and stuff. And I just think we should just really focus on the food is just a means to an end. What do I mean by that? Well, instead of treating food as something to look forward to or an entertainment or something like that, we should just treat food as just something to fuel our bodies. And we got to fuel it properly now. We've got to fuel it with the correct food that doesn't cause us negative consequences. So, with that being said, I have been struggling recently, last few months, because I got on this kick of the keto ice cream. Because I did watch a lot of Dr. Kiltz's videos about how you can't have it from time to time and stuff like that. But I think if you are an addict, a sugar addict, and I think pretty much 80-90% of Americans are, Otherwise, why would we have such a big obesity epidemic that's going on across America, right? So I think if you have an addiction like that and you are truly addicted to sugar, even just a little bit of it, even though it might not cause you any problems, can wind up sending you down a rabbit hole that you wind up sabotaging the very diet that you hold dear to you, that you know is actually helping you. You wind up sabotaging that. And that goes for pretty much any of the carbs and all the other vegetables that you might want to try to reintroduce into your body, because that usually turns to sugar anyways. I think it's really just sugar addiction. And I think we need to actually be more strict on ourselves and be more mindful of what we put in our body actually matters. Because, you know, there was this old adage about, you know, you are what you eat. And I think that's true. I mean, if you eat nothing but sugar, you're going to be nothing but sugar. And although it doesn't really make sense when you think about the whole fat context, because, you know, people say, well, if you eat fat, then you wind up being fat. Well, that's not true. But I think it still holds some weight, that old saying. And I think it really does matter what you put in your body. I mean, you can't put you know, bad gas in your car and expect it to run good, but yet we put bad food in our body expecting to be able to somehow still feel good, and it just doesn't work that way. So anyways, I'm on my way to work today. I just wanted to give my thoughts on that. It's just something I came up with this morning, and I just want to kind of get it off my chest. I just really do think that a lot of times we really want to go back to the standard American diet, but we want to stick with the carnivore diet or the keto diet or whatever, but we still carry a lot of that stuff from the standard American diet over to those diets, and it's just not going to work. It might work for a little while, but you'll wind up falling off the wagon. You'll wind up people will be saying, hey, you know, what happened? You know, I thought this diet really worked. And then you wind up, you know, it wind up not really even helping other people, you know, which is another thought, you know, I was having, was that, you know, this carnivore diet and the keto world, it actually does work. But are you only thinking of yourself about it working, or are you trying to help other people? And the greatest example that you can be to other people who are struggling with the standard American diet is to show that this diet truly works. The keto diet, the carnivore diet. And I think we should really think about other people, and if we wind up going down the rabbit hole of, yeah, I gotta fix this dish and that dish and have different dishes because it's just so boring, this diet, you know, I think we set ourselves up for failure. But not only that, wind up harming other people, not in a way that it's actually harming them, but it's more of they see us do this diet and now it's another diet that has failed. I mean, how many of us have tried diets that have failed? And other people are watching us, and other people are seeing us, and they're seeing the transformations. And then when we fall off the wagon, then they're like, well, this is just another one of those fad diets. So anyways, yeah, that's really all I got for y'all today. I just food for thought, no pun intended, of course, but just something that was rattling around in my head. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode as I drive to work, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to hit that like button right down below. And if you want to see more of these episodes in the near future, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. And with that being said, I want to wish y'all a wonderful week, and I'll catch you next episode. Take care.